So today I'll be reacting to Kevin Wesley's story. Let's get into it.
I have been married for 51 years. Got two sons, 42 and 40. Damn deadbeats. I'm still supporting the little boogers. Needed to take a test to see if any of us had a kidney good enough for my brother. Found out something interesting. They ain't my kids. There's somebody else's. Of course, the only good thing is, I know it's not my fault that those two idiots got dumped into this world. Hell, I thought they took after their mother. Instead, they take after the plumber or the postman or the milkman, or, yeah, there were milkmen back when they came around. I mean, God only knows. It sure gets old. I do wish I knew who the real fathers were. Well, they ain't the same. She was bopping a couple of different guys. But if I could figure out who they were, I've been practicing.
So before I continue the video, here's a scenario. He's just spoken about it. It's found out through a DNA test, which is mandatory these days when you want to go for things like organ donations, usually in things like heart transplant, kidney transplant, and such. When a family member needs to donate or has expressed a wish to donate a body part to another family member, they need to make sure that it's an exact match because of complications in future. This is why they do things like this. And it has continued to reveal circumstances such as the one that Kevin has just spoken about, where he's just found out that the two sons who he thought were his were not actually his children. Let's get back into it.
Long enough that I pretty well figure I can sue their ass and get all my money back that I sunk into those two deadbeats. It just chaps my ass that she couldn't tell me. I'd probably forgiven her. Maybe not. You know how it is. Hell, boys, y'all need to go get your own paternity test. You can't tell by looking who's the daddy, unless you're looking down at the genetic level. I've been in court.
Now, before I continue playing the video, look at what he's just said. He said you can't tell by just looking at the children. You can't tell by just looking at the children. You have to look at it through the genetic level. Now, you see, this man who is talking didn't have access to DNA tests. So he's been married for 51 years. And the children, like he said, one is 40, one is 42. So if I'm going to calculate his age, it's probably close to his 90s. Maybe between 80 and 90 at least, without knowing his exact age. And I'm almost pretty sure that DNA tests were not available back then. I think they started to become more of a common thing, I think in the 90s, early 2000s. I might be wrong on that. But it certainly wasn't available. So there was no way he could have known that these children weren't his. But now he's advising men now. Is advising people to make sure they do those tests to be absolutely certain, because he wasn't absolutely certain, which is why he's in this is why he's in the mess he's in right now.
Thousands of times in paternity suits, and 4 out of 5 times, guy says he ain't the daddy, he's right. And the genetic test is the only way to prove it for sure. These women are hopping everything that looks fun. You thought you liked sex. You ain't nothing. Well,
Wow.
I guess that pretty well completes that story. I'll go home, start drafting up some divorce papers.
Now, where is this man going to start from? 80 something, 90 something. Okay, he's talking about drafting divorce papers. So he drafts the divorce papers and he divorces her. They're still not his children, right? So what does he do? Does he have new children? Does he have children with someone else? And say, okay, the next maybe 5, maybe 10, maybe 15 years of my life, I have that sense of fatherhood. Because if you go back to the beginning, he said they're deadbeats. He called them idiots. So these children are not children he's proud of, obviously, from his own words. So the disappointment is twofold. I'm seeing a broken man here, and he's first disappointed because the children aren't his, and he's raised someone else's children without his permission and without his knowledge. And then the children haven't turned out well. So it's a double blow for him in terms of where he picks up. He's saying he wants to divorce. Let's keep watching.
See if I can't get free of that crazy bitch. I mean, I stayed with her for the sake of the children and the grandchildren. Now the great-grandchildren. They ain't no kin of mine. Fuck them.
You're goddamn right.
This one is this one's heavy. It seems like he's made up his mind what he wants to do. He's going to try and see if he can get money back. To be honest, I don't know how much money he can get back. From who? Is it from his wife? Maybe that's going to give him some respite. I don't know. He's talking about also divorce. Yeah, he's well in his rights to exercise that option. But let's hear what somebody else has to say on the topic.
Why is it that DNA paternity tests are still not mandatory at childbirth? Because
that is my question. Why isn't DNA test mandatory at childbirth so that we can establish the paternity and maternity? I don't want to go into maternity. Maternity is already established because the child is coming out of the woman, right? So that's already established. We don't need tests for that. That's obvious. Why aren't paternity tests made mandatory at childbirth before the man or the father is put on the birth certificate? Why isn't that mandatory in 2023, 2024? Why not?
reality is there's a lot of men that are raising kids that are not theirs. And it is sad to see when somebody finds out 20 years down the line that the child that they've been investing in is not theirs.
You see, this will happen again and again and again. If measures aren't put into place, if policies aren't made, if the changes aren't made to the laws to say at birth, let's ensure that we stop this, we reduce this. In fact, you're not going to see a reduction. You're going to see an almost complete stop to this madness. Why isn't it done? What's happening to the powers that be that don't want this to come to the fore? I know that there are petitions that were done in the US, petitions that were done in the UK as well. I don't think they've gone anywhere. I'd like to see what you guys have to say in the comment section. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe. Please like this video. Please share across all your social media platforms. And see you in the next one.